This is the most interaction I've ever had on Twitter. Here, I'll show you. This is the most interaction I've ever had on fucking Twitter. I'm having to scroll through all of this shit. I can't, because I kept responding to people. I mean, I'm in deep here. I'm the worst pirate they've ever heard of. Arg. You look like a hobo that somebody donated a suit to for a fast food job interview. See, I fucking laugh when jokes are good about me. Ooh. Vegan plumbing supplies and much more. What in the fuck? I don't even know what that means. Get a haircut and a hat. Did you sent me a video or some shit? I don't know. I haven't got a chance to check it out yet. I've been caught up in this. Oh, fuck. I'm trying to get to Michael Malice himself. I'm trying to get to the, because he retweeted me. Dude said, looks don't decide, bare knuckle boxing match streamed live, I'd watch. My response was, make it happen. I'd love to destroy all of the idiots' opinions of you. We can also debate if you aren't man enough for bare knuckles. But I want to get to his actual fucking post. You look hideous. Hideous. Come on. Here was my thing. Is like, they told me that he was manlier than me. I put up a poll. I was like, who is manlier, me or Michael Malice? And look, I'm doing this to his fans, so of course I'm gonna get ratioed on it. But come on, I hands down look manlier than that little weasel. Look at this dude. Here's a picture of him next to what's that dude's name? Kilmeade? That Brian Kilmeade from Fox? Look at this dude! This is why I am confident I can take him in a bare knuckle boxing match. Look at this little scrawny motherfucker. I don't know if I'd call it going viral. I got dogpiled by a bunch of idiots. But apparently this dude is some kind of big shot podcaster. He was actually on Timcast about 4 days ago talking about the Don't Say Gay bill. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us to watch that video, make fun of him, and then correct the record about the Don't Say Gay bill. Because you can be assured that Tim Pool did not tell you the truth. However, I got the truth over here. I can't fucking find the actual. I guess I'll have to go to my profile here because I retweeted Michael Malice. Oh fuck. Maybe I can find it this way. There we go. Who the fuck is Michael Malice? My only exposure to him is watching him suck musk on Twitter. So there we go. We can actually respond to Malice with our video. Unfortunately, he is live right now on his channel. So we aren't going to get Michael Malice coming to. They are debating Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Senate floor right now. That's what I wanted to start with. But we got to talk about Michael Malice here. Oh fuck, cuz I was going to start off talking about Supreme Court shit. We've got a court case to talk about. My profile picture on Twitter right now is this picture. A true manly man being bowed down to by one Mr. Michael Malice. And seriously, look at this dude. I can't take many people in a bare knuckle fight. I could take him. I could take Matt Walsh. Come at me, bro. Let's go ahead. We'll watch this video of Michael Malice. On with Tim Pool. Talking about the Don't Say Gay bill. And then we'll get to the actual news.
There's a Twitter thread going viral. I forget the guy's name, so forgive me.
This was about 4 days ago on the Timcast.
Why the left is freaking out over the parental rights and education bill so much. Now, there's a meme where someone says, it's not rocket science, guys. They're just evil and they want to diddle kids.
Aaron McIntyre, let's give him credit.
He's great, but he's wrong.
Also,
there's a great thread about this that James Lindsay...
So, Michael Malice calls himself an anarchist, but last I checked, anarchists usually identify closer with the left and not fascists. So it's weird that he's going on shows like Dave Rubin and Tim Pool and shit like that, isn't it?
He had retweeted. I forgive me to the podcast host who posted it because I forget his name. I don't know if you guys want to try and look it up. But what he was saying is
Tim Pool over here, journalist, doing the
and I think he's
deep dive and researching what he's saying
to sever the relationship between child and parent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so what they do is they first, in secret, will start explaining to the children why they're evil and bad and why they should feel guilt and shame. Sufficiently made these kids hate their own identity and their parents.
Nobody is doing that. What are you talking about, you stupid fuck? They're telling the kids to make sure that they hate their identity. That is one of the dumbest strawmans I have ever heard.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
This really is just more moral panic outrage bullshit. Different decade, same shit.
Identity. They offer up alternative identities. You can now be one of these oppressed minorities. Pick and choose. You can be anything. It's all a social construct. Then when the parents finally find out and are shocked by what's happening, the kids are already so deeply entrenched in the ideology that the teachers can then say, see, we told you they'd come at you. You can only trust us.
Yeah. And at a certain age, you want to be against your parents because as a teenager, you want to be your own identity. So it's very useful to leverage that kind of natural social age group.
So Michael Malice is a podcaster and he can't even say one fucking sentence without stumbling and getting mixed up. And I bet they make fun of Biden for his cognitive decline all the time.
I don't know if I could go so far as to say there's an intentional cabal of people doing this, but I can say that whether it's a conspiracy or just it's happening, it is happening this way. And the way this gentleman describes it is, it's because of
evidence, motherfucker, evidence. Do you have evidence to back up your claim? Or are you just pulling shit out of your ass and making up nonsense to get mad about?
There's a lot of teachers who are following a curriculum that seems to be empathetic to children who are experiencing some issues. And so they're going along with it.
Oh my God!
Why is the left
sympathetic to children who are experiencing issues?
Don't say gay. Well, the bill also prevents teachers from talking about heterosexual marriage and traditional relationships. Why does it frame it this way? The one thing they're truly threatened by. The bill does not prevent teachers from talking to children about being gay. It prevents them from doing it in secret. They can't tell the kids, don't talk to your parents. Many of these teachers are saying they're going to do it anyway.
That is not a thing.
Have sexual conversations with 5 to 9-year-olds, and you say, don't tell your parents. I'm going to go ahead and assume you're grooming these kids.
100%.
The fuck are you talking? No. There are some parents who might be abused, disavowed. I mean, there are some students that might be abused, disavowed. If they are outed to their parents, that is what this is supposed to protect.
What else are you supposed to assume? I mean, it's not being uncharitable. That's the most reasonable possible assumption.
No, it's not, you stupid fuck.
Sever children from their parents, and it's very true. It's debatable whether there's a concerted effort, but you see this in media all the time. The family unit is consistently attacked. In basically every television program, the father's always a complete moron who can't do anything right. And that's because if you want to go after any structure, you start by attacking the authority. And so it's been seared into
What are you talking about? You like the Homer Simpson trope? Is that it? I mean, I can give you examples of that trope being used going back 50, 60, 70 years into the advent of TV. But you could also say that there are I mean, I could give you examples of strong father figures in Modern Family being one of them. I'm sure they think that that show is woke, but like the patriarch of the family, played by Ed O'Neill, is strong. What are you talking about? You're just making up nonsense.
To an entire generation of people, if not 2 or 3 generations, on some level, that dad is stupid and not to be respected and made fun of. And I think part of it is just a result of the fact that a lot of artistic people who go into Hollywood don't have great relationships with their fathers. Generally speaking, I think that's more typical, not always the case.
I think it's a reaction to feminism, because feminists for a long time were proclaiming like, you shouldn't show women as being stupid, but that only leaves the guys.
Yeah, I think there's truth in that too. But even if you go back to the honeymooners, which I would say is
what? I mean, yeah, we can't portray women as stupid, even though like the ditzy blonde is still a trope that you will see on TV to this day. These fuckers are just making shit up.
Is before feminism had saturated the culture as much. The husband was still sort of weak and stupid and very lucky to have his wife. Yeah,
but he would always threaten to beat his wife.
That's true, right? So they removed, they did soften these types of characters with feminism, but there is this interesting trope of like dad being a hapless fool.
The Flintstones, the Simpsons.
I absolutely have to shout out Futurama.
American Dad. The wife on American Dad is dumb.
Well, no, in Futurama, they go to the moon, and it's 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
And
they're talking about comedies.
One of these days, bang, zoom, straight to the moon. Why? And then Leela's like, I didn't realize 20th century astronauts were so fat. And then Fry's like, he's not an astronaut. And he was just using beating his wife as a metaphor for, or he was using space travel as a metaphor for beating his wife.
I'm wondering if in all this division of family in the Soviet Union, when they did it, were there kids that basically had their beliefs shattered and then reformed and then at some point realized, maybe even too late, like, what have we done?
Like, we have gone from talking about a specific bill that they got completely wrong, by the way, to talking about television tropes. Idiots. Fucking idiots. Right-wingers are morons. Let's talk about the details of the bill, shall we? We're going to read from Ryan Thorson, who is a researcher for Human Rights Watch. Because Florida officials are once again spreading misinformation about the Don't Say Gay bill, I want to once again lay out what it does and doesn't actually say. First of all, K through 3rd students are not learning sex ed in Florida schools. They are occasionally learning that some kids have 2 dads or 2 moms. And that's what's setting off conservative supporters of the bill. Conservatives call it sex ed, call it a sex ed bill, but it doesn't actually address instruction on sexual activity. It prohibits instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity, singling out some families and kids as off limits for school discussion. You can see the actual intent in the refusal to amend and fix the bill. We're going to read amendments that were proposed. Representative Carlos Smith, in fact, proposed an amendment that would prohibit discussion of sexual activity rather than sexual orientation or gender identity. It failed. Senator Jeff Brandes proposed an amendment to make it about human sexuality more broadly. It failed. Senator Lauren Book proposed an amendment to clarify that discussing same-sex families, history, bullying, questions asked by students, etc. would be permitted. It failed. Senator Randolph Bracey and Representative Woodson proposed amendments to clarify that conversations among LGBT students would be permitted. Those amendments were rejected. Senator Tina Polsky proposed an amendment clarifying that sexual orientation and gender identity include heterosexuality and cisgender identity. That was rejected. So what Tim Pool was saying about, like, oh, well, you can't discuss hetero marriage either, wrong. No opponent of the bill sought to expand sex ed to K through 3rd students. They sought to ensure that LGBT people and families could still be discussed and not erased. And for some reason, they were voted down by the conservative majority every time. In fact, opponents of the bill tried to amend it so it would instead prohibit discussions of sexual activity in K through 3rd grades. And for some reason that nobody can explain to me, the proponents of the bill voted that down. A second misconception is that this is just about K through 3rd grades. The bill also prohibits those discussion in older grades if the state deems those conversations not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. Why am I skeptical that LGBT kids would get the info they need? Because Florida sex ed law already stacks the deck against LGBT kids, requiring instructors in HIV/AIDS education to specifically encourage heterosexual marriage. Relatedly, Senator Gary Farmer offered an amendment to make this part of Florida's sex ed law inclusive of all marriages. LGBT people have a constitutional right to marry. After all, well, they're coming for that, according to Senator Cornyn. We're not getting into that tonight, but that's another. Maybe I should pull that clip up. But Senator Gary Farmer offered an amendment to make this part of Florida's sex ed law inclusive of all marriages. LGBT people have a constitutional right to marry, after all, but as you might have guessed, proponents of the bill shot that down. You can see in that provision that Florida's sex ed law already requires that instruction must be appropriate for the grades and age of the student. The only point of this additional legislation is to prevent discussions of LGBT people and families. Third, the bill requires parental consent to health care services and parental notification of changes to student health and well-being unless there's concern about abuse, abandonment, or neglect. There's misunderstanding around this provision too. I think most people, this is what Tim Pool was talking about. Oh, they want to instruct your kids in secret. I think most people recognize the complexity of this. Ideally, parents are supportive and involved, but the reality is that confidential resources and support in schools are critically important for kids, including some LGBT kids who may have difficult home lives. And as important as the abuse, abandonment, and neglect provision is, the fact is that teachers may not know students' lives well enough to know what kind of backlash or violence they're going to face if they're outed without their consent. Again, opponents of the bill sought to address these concerns, but were met with resistance. Representative Angie Nixon proposed an amendment to ensure students were not outed without their consent. That was rejected. Senator Lori Berman and Representative Anna Escamani proposed amendments for the State Department of Education to work with PFLAG and GLSEN to create a pamphlet to help parents have these conversations with their kids and give them organizations who can help. Those were rejected. Senator Janet Cruz and Representative Kristen Arrington proposed amendments for schools to provide a safe environment regardless of race, color, ethnicity, national origin, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, or disability, and those were rejected. Ryan Thorson continues, I'll stop there, but there is very good reasons to oppose the Don't Say Gay bill. We know why bills like this are introduced in the absence of actual problems, and it's telling that proponents resisted every effort to make classrooms more inclusive and keep LGBT kids safe. Now, you just saw Tim Pool fucking cite somebody he didn't even remember their name, get what they said wrong, and then go off on some tangent about tropes in media. I just broke it down for you and told you exactly why to oppose this bill. But Tim Pool would have you believe, no, only a groomer of children would oppose this bill. If you are concerned about people grooming children, I'll tell you exactly where to look. It's called church. Watch a little more of this so I can see if I can make fun of Michael Malice for something.
Done as the government turns on them? Like, are these people that are like useful pawns? Are they turned on eventually?
Oh, yeah. I mean, then Stalin turned on the secret police, and then he turned on the top of the military.
Honey, you guys are the useful pawns. No. You know who's especially the useful pawns? People like Glenn Greenwald or Andrew Sullivan, who are themselves gay. Starting to realize that, Glenn Greenwald is, and Andrew Sullivan, through his Twitter interactions over the last couple of weeks, he might be starting to realize that, hey, they're coming for me too. Glenn Greenwald is so far up his own ass. Why is Michael Malice dressed like Tim Pool? What the fuck is this shit?
which was a major problem in World War II because all this
Dustin, thank you for the
Another thing
resub.
that they taught in the Soviet Union very famously was the story of Pavlik Morozov, who was this little boy whose dad was hoarding grain, and he turned his dad into the authorities, and his dad killed him. This is a complete made-up story, but there were statues built to him and like songs about him because you're taught in school if your parents are doing.
Dustin just got here. He turned into a Weasley little man.
Doing something wrong, you have to inform on them, and if you're killed, you basically become a saint. This is the greatest thing you can do.
Michael, do you watch anime?
God, no.
You need to watch Attack on Titan.
No, I disagree with that. I've never heard the word need used more incorrectly.
And so there's a meme of like...
Okay, I'll agree with Michael Malice on that. But you also you shouldn't
You wanted iTunes gift cards?
I don't actually
bash something you don't know about.
spoil the gist of it
Please,
for you.
it's already spoiled. It's anime.
Yeah, so the first season. First, you're gonna love this. The first season.
Oh yeah, one more thing I just gotta say. The only cartoons I watch are Freedom Tunes.
Thank you so much.
All right, check it out.
The fuck is a freedom tune? I assume they're preaching the opposite of freedom. For those of you just joining us, that was Michael Malice on the Timcast podcast. The reason we were watching that is because I hit the Hornet's Nest today and apparently got Michael Malice's fans all over me. One of them said something about manly men, so I posted a poll. I was like, who is manlier, me or Michael Malice? Weasel-looking Michael or godlike Freakin? I mean, does he not look like a weasel? Somebody else said I should bare-knuckle box him, and I'm like, I agree to that. Look at this little motherfucker. Did mommy dress him like that? He dressed him like a big boy for his appearance on Fox News.